I'm Bev Turner and this is GB News Originals, and I'm talking to you from Washington DC, less than 24 hours after the cold-blooded attack on two members of the National Guard, citizen soldiers if you like, with two young people, a 20-year-old woman and a 24-year-old man critically injured in hospital. And it's at times like this that I look across the Atlantic. I wonder if the UK and the US are even on the same planet. The contrast in how our politicians respond to acts of politically motivated violence is like night and day. I was reminded in the last 24 hours about the way that our political establishment behaved after the Axel Rudakabana stabbings at a child's dance class during the summer holidays. Now, it doesn't get much more horrifying than that, and the public expressed their outrage and horror in the only way that we have left, social media. And for some, their emotional responses literally ended up with them being sent to jail. But what do we get from Sir Keir Starmer? A sombre press conference, the usual lessons will be learned, a call for patience and an insistence that now is not the time for division. In the subsequent civil unrest, Starmer blamed the so-called far right, shifting the focus from the killer, a child of Rwandan refugees, to the British public. Heaven forbid that his people should be angry or demand answers from the state that is supposed to keep them safe. No, we get a sort of managerial lullaby. Calm down, don't politicise it, let the process run its course, trust us. Like an unpredictable and weak parent leaving its children terrified after witnessing violence.
No, I won't shy away from calling it what it is. Far-right thuggery.
The British government's entire counter-terror strategy can be summarised as follows. Step 1, say that it's tragic. Step 2, ask for calm. And step 3, hope everyone forgets and the news cycle moves on. But look at what happens here in America under President Trump.
This heinous assault was an act of evil, an act of hatred, and an act of terror. It was a crime against our entire nation. It was a crime against humanity. We must now re-examine every single alien who has entered our country from Afghanistan under Biden, and we must take all necessary measures to ensure the removal of any alien from any country who does not belong here or add benefit to our country. If they can't love our country, we don't want them.
There's nothing more important than keeping your money and your identity safe online. And with so many VPN options available, choosing the right one can be pretty daunting. But this video's sponsor, ExpressVPN, is making the choice easier for GB News viewers. ExpressVPN is offering up to 73% off, plus 4 extra months free. That's top-level security from just £2.49 a month, and you're covered by their 30-day money-back guarantee. So just click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code now. Remember, when you're online, you are often sharing personal data, so hackers can steal your information, your passwords, your photos, and your bank details in just seconds. But ExpressVPN encrypts your connection, making it virtually impossible for hackers to access your personal information. So why choose ExpressVPN? Well, it couldn't be easier to use. With just one click, you are protected. And ExpressVPN uses military-grade AES 256 encryption, which is the same standard trusted by the US government to guard their classified information. With their new tiered plans, you can protect up to 14 devices at once and manage passwords securely. Live chat support is available 24/7, and it typically connects you in under a minute with a real person. Click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code to get up to 73% off ExpressVPN, plus 4 extra months free. Start protecting yourself today with ExpressVPN.
Of course, this country has its own chaos and plenty of faults. But when something horrific happens, leaders don't hide behind a curtain of bureaucratic platitudes. Mere minutes after the shooting of the National Guard, Vice President JD Vance pressed for more aggressive immigration enforcement, insisting that the attack underscored why the US must redouble our efforts to deport people with no right to be in our country. FBI Director Kash Patel stood in the street saying it was a heinous act of terrorism and the investigation would be coast-to-coast. Search warrants, he said, have already been executed at the suspect's home, with all necessary federal resources being used to investigate and bring those responsible to justice. Only moments after the attack, the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, announced an extra 500 National Guard troops on the streets in DC. And President Trump, on holiday for Thanksgiving in Florida, took to the lectern and came out swinging. No hesitation, no moral fog, no mealy-mouthed, now isn't the time. Hegseth went straight to the cameras, calling it an act of evil, an act of hatred, and pledged that this animal who committed the crime would pay the steepest possible price. He highlighted the suspect's asylum status, saying the gunman came from Afghanistan under the previous administration's refugee settlement program. He demanded a full re-examination of all Afghan nationals admitted under those programs. Attorney General Pam Bondi has said that if either of the National Guard soldiers should succumb to their injuries, she would call for the death penalty. In the aftermath of violence, such determination makes Americans feel safe, that their well-being is their president's priority. This sense of clarity, this sense of urgency, the message, if you attack my people, I will not politely ask the public to light another candle and wait for a committee report. The UK, in contrast, behaves like it's terrified of upsetting anyone, even sometimes the perpetrator. We have a political class that believes strength is dangerous and weakness is virtuous. They worry that being firm against migrants who commit crime will cast them as racists, that raising your voice is populism, and that any emotional response stronger than mild disappointment is something to be avoided. Starmer's reaction to the Rudy Cabana case and others is practically the blueprint now for the British instinct. Placate the public, flatter the institutions, and most of all, keep everything as painfully, performatively calm as possible, as though a Prime Minister's ambivalence will stop a fanatic with a weapon in his tracks. And they think that people like you won't notice. That we ordinary folk, the ones who actually live with the consequences of these attacks, won't see the contrast. They see American leaders, again imperfect, but at least willing to call an attack what it is. We see them addressing the fears head on, not treating the public like impressionable children who must be shielded from anything remotely emotive in case, God forbid, we ask for actual policy change. In Britain, moral clarity is treated with embarrassment. Strength is treated like a PR risk. And every time there's an attack, we watch this slow, grinding pantomime of officials nervously performing concern while carefully avoiding decisive language. And I'm sorry, but people are sick of it. More than that, we are frightened by it. We are nauseated by the "this is not who we are" speeches when Jews are stabbed in a synagogue. We are sick of the press conferences that sound like they were written by a corporate HR department scared of being sued. And we are sick of being told to stay calm when staying calm has not made a single person safer. Because here's the truth, and it's a truth the British establishment is terrified of admitting. If your response to violence is to be scared of offending the perpetrator or their wider community, you invite more violence. Say what you want about Trump's rhetoric and his subsequent actions, but it broadcasts one very clear principle. The state exists to protect citizens who are legally allowed to be here, not tiptoe around the sensibilities of attackers. The American response, messy, loud, some might say impulsive, still communicates something that Britain has forgotten. That security isn't a philosophical concept that can be ignored. It's a responsibility. And until the UK can rediscover even a fraction of that spine, that willingness to speak plainly, act decisively and defend the public with more than empathetic sound bites, we will keep watching this same tragic cycle. Violence, apology, inquiry, amnesia. Attorney General Pam Bondi spoke of the work being done by unifying the FBI, the National Guard, the Secret Service, the police, all working together in DC to achieve what she says is their very clear mission from President Trump, to make America safe again. That isn't hysteria, it is strength. And right now, the difference between the United States of America and the United Kingdom is simply this. One country still knows how to show strength in the face of violence. The other is terrified to even try.